Hi there, Kerry at the Soap Coach here, and today we're talking about ensuring that your handmade soap and skincare business is profitable and viable. At the time of recording this, it's May 2024, and we've just had some pretty hefty hikes on the price of cocoa butter. We're still in the olive oil crisis, should I say. I mean, it's 3 times the price it was 2 years ago. There's all sorts of price increases on our raw materials, and I know life is tough out there at the moment, so if you do not normally watch all my videos all the way through, please just humour me on this one. Watch this one because I've got quite a few things that you may well not be doing and that you can implement fairly easily, which will help up your profit or potentially reduce your costs, or both. So as always, got my list going. These are all things that I have done, will do, or would do if it was relevant. So I have given quite a lot of thought to this. First things first, reduce the cost of your raw materials. Now, I know that's easier said than done. However, there are ways and means. Shop around, that's the obvious one. There are lots of different suppliers, and just because you're using one or always have used one doesn't mean to say that they are the best option or the cheapest option for you. Especially things like sodium hydroxide, you don't need to be buying that from a soap supplier. You can buy that from a chemical supplying place. So I have bought my sodium hydroxide from various different places, and I don't buy it from soap suppliers because you can get 25 kilogram bags elsewhere much cheaper. So shop around, and the other thing I would say is have a look at what you're buying. If you are buying, and I use cocoa butter because it's come up in conversation last week, if you're buying organic cocoa butter and you are not an organic business, you're not using that as your USP and you're not charging organic prices, you need to be buying non-organic cocoa butter because it just doesn't make sense to be purchasing the better products, shall I say. I know you might want to, and I know you may not want to change, but unless you are prepared to be charging higher prices, organic prices, you can't afford organic raw materials. That is the bottom line. Also review how you purchase your raw materials, and this is where just economies of scale come into play. If you buy larger quantities of one particular ingredient, you will get a better price. It's just the way it works. That goes across the board for everything. And what I have noticed is, particularly essential oils, if you're looking at a 250 gram or 250 ml size bottle, if you just have a look at the price of a larger bottle, quite often it's quite a small jump and nowhere near double the price, and that just makes good business sense to buy the larger bottle. There is a caveat there. I don't want you to have stuff that is going to be sat on the shelf for 2 years before you use it, because that ties up cash in raw materials that you're not using or may even go out of date. So just keep that in mind, but rather than ordering little and often, order larger and less often if you can do. Also try and reduce your postage costs by buying more from one supplier. You might either have the same postage costs but a larger amount for that, or quite often you'll get a free post if you push above a certain limit, and then you won't pay any postage at all. So do have a little look at those kind of things. Number 2 is focus on your most profitable products. Now, I know you may love your shampoo bars, for example, and not be too keen on something else that you have, but if your shampoo bars are really fiddly to make, and mine are, and mine don't sell very well, and they are expensive to make as well, do I need to carry on with them? I'm looking at that at the moment, what I'm selling and what isn't selling very well, and what gives me a better profit margin, because ultimately if I can't keep my business profitable, it's not going to last. So it's okay to evolve and to change your products, and have a look at those which are better for you and your business. Now, obviously, I would say here it needs to be relevant to your customers and your niche. So it's no good I would never get rid of my dog soap because that's my key product. And as it happens, it's not my most profitable product, but it's okay. It's okay. And also have a look at other products that you can bring in which may be a good fit for your customer, but more profitable for you to make. So in general, things like balms, bath salts, anything that's quick that you can make in bulk is quite a good option to look at. But again, I wouldn't look at a bath salt or a facial oil because they're not aligned with my customer base, but for you they may be. Number 3, do you need to reformulate? I know that's going to be a swear word for some of you, but if you have a really expensive formulation or one which is fiddly and long-winded and time-consuming to make, it isn't necessarily going to be the best option for you in the long run. You might well need to bite the bullet and look at what you can do to either reduce your costs or speed up your productions. And I'll come to that in a moment. But it doesn't mean that you have to supply a lower quality product. It just means that you might need to look at tweaking things or changing the design so that it's not as difficult and long-winded to make. Hopefully that makes sense. If you are looking at a new assessment, consider a flexi assessment, because then that will give you some workarounds in the future. If you want to add new products, you don't have to buy new assessments, and there's lots of different options out there now. Yes, I know it's a pain to do the labels. Yes, I know it's a pain to upload to the portal, but really in the grand scheme of things, if you sit down and don't procrastinate and get on with it, it doesn't take that long. Just saying that, okay? Number 4, this is a bit out there. Consider custom or made to order orders. And I'm talking things like wedding favours, things for subscription boxes maybe, things that are made on demand for a customer. The reason why I'm saying this is because cash flow, again, if you're keeping your products on the shelf and they're sitting there and you don't know when you're going to sell them, you've got cash tied up in those products. If you have an order for a product which you can make, get the money for and get out the door, then that saves you having that stock sat around which you may not sell. Occasionally that happens. And B, you get cash in straight away for the work that you've done. So just have a little think about that. It doesn't mean to say you can't have boundaries or limits on what you're doing. So, for example, if let's say wedding favours, you could say you need to order a minimum of 50 half-size bars. That's still not a very big order. It's 2 soap loaves, isn't it? But you don't want to be doing 10 or 15 or 20 because that's just fiddly, but at least 50 makes it a little bit more worthwhile for you. So do have some boundaries still, and if you were doing something like that, which is a smaller order, I would be looking at doing it as one of my regular designs and smells, so that I don't have to mess around with formulating or designing anything and just stick a different label on it. So keep it simple. So that's custom-made orders, helps with cash flow. Number 5, streamline your processes. And by this, I mean the making side of things should only be quite a small percentage of your day. So that means if you can make it all in one day and do all the washing up in one day, you're only travelling to wherever you make it in one day, or only having a mess in your house on one day, that is quite a game changer. It does require some organisation. It does require not procrastinating. But I can guarantee if you set yourself a list of things that you want to make in one day, and it's quite tight on the time side of things, you will get it done, and you'll be really pleased with yourself for getting it done. So that's one thing, streamline processes. That can also include things like master batching, so getting all your ingredients prepped in advance, and also making larger size batches at any one time. So don't make 2 loaves of one particular smell, make 4 loaves if you can. And yeah, it's a much more time-effective way or time-efficient way of doing it. Number 6, portion control. And so we need to behave like restaurants for this. Restaurants, hotels, etc., most food eating places, they have very strict guidelines about what goes on your plate. And it will be 1 scoop of this, 1 scoop of that, because they will have costed it out beforehand to ensure that they reach their... I can't remember what the term is, but they have a minimum profit that they expect to reach. We need to be doing that more in our industry, and I know we don't. So to give you an example of how this might work, so things like body butters and shampoos, etc., they're quite straightforward. You can weigh them as you make them. That's not a problem. Soap, I know, is a completely different ballgame. And most of us will have a 100-gram bar of soap, and we will be selling it. It'll actually be more like 130 grams. And the way around this I have found, and it worked really well for me, is I reduced my batch size by 5%, did that, saw what that looked like, still way over, reduce it by another 5%. And then you'll be able to just do it gradually. And even if you just drop by 5% or 10% and you're still over, you save 10% on the cost of that product. So you're making more money on it. So portion control, you need to be really nailing down on this. You don't need to be giving away your product. I can guarantee that if you bought a Mars bar from Tesco or wherever, it will not weigh more than it says on the packet. Okay. Pricing. I know it's a really sticky point. This is, again, most of us like to try and offer really good value. If you're increasing your prices, you feel you'll probably procrastinate over it for weeks. Then you'll feel like when you finally do it, you'll feel guilty. You'll feel the need to announce it on social media and apologise. And we've all been there, but you do not need to do any of that. If you have to put your prices up, just do it. Again, Tesco don't tell us when they're increasing the price of a loaf of bread. Just do it. I've never had any pushback from putting my prices up, and everyone's pretty understanding. The one caveat to that would be if you have wholesale customers, it would be the right thing to do to let them know in advance. If you're unable to do that, then let them know when they place an order before you fulfill that order so that they have the chance to turn around and say, actually, I can't do this. But generally, they are very understanding. They know what the current climate is like, and if you can't make a profit, you're not going to be in business. So you need to keep that in perspective. The other thing I would recommend you do is a recosting exercise if you haven't done it recently. You may well have worked out the cost of making your products a year ago, and actually a lot's changed since then. It may be a nasty surprise, but you need to know. It could be a game changer in the long run. So put some time aside, and I know that's hard, put some time aside to do a proper costing on your products to make sure that you're not, especially for wholesale, make sure that you're not shortchanging yourself and it's not costing you to actually supply those products. So that's number 7, pricing. Number 8, review how you sell your products. By that I mean if you are on a good e-commerce website, for example, things like Shopify, they will have plug-in apps which will allow you to upsell or boost sales at the checkout, and they do work. I know it's tech and I haven't done it, and there's various reasons for that, but it's something that I would do if I was looking to grow my product-based business. If somebody's got something in the basket, you can make suggestions at the checkout. You've got this, how about this that goes with it? Create bundles, gift sets, do mystery boxes if you've got products that maybe are limited editions that you've only got a couple left, put them in mystery boxes with other things and sell them at a slightly reduced price. Do a discount code for buying, I've got one that's called a 4 soap stack, for example. If they buy 4 soaps, they get 15% off. But you need to be looking at increasing your average order value. And I know you might think that's counterintuitive, reducing or getting less money for your products. However, if you're increasing your order value, it takes just as long to package 1 or 2 things up as it does 5 or 6 things. And you are making more money in that, and your time costs money as well. So you need to look at the sort of bigger picture really on that. And the other thing is processing, payment processing, Stripe, PayPal. They charge a transaction fee as well as a percentage, and that transaction fee is the same regardless of whether somebody spends £5 with you or £30 with you. So you can see that over time, higher order values will cost you less in processing fees as well. If you primarily do events or in-person things, you can use a similar principle. You can still do offers on the day for a show offers, like buy this bundle or 10% off for today. Don't feel bad about doing that at all because you haven't got other costs associated. It depends how much you paid to go to the event. But the way I look at it is if you spent a day at an event, you've paid to be there, would you rather sell £500 worth of products and make £350 of profit, for example? Or would you rather sell £250 of profit of products and make £180 profit? Yes, you've made more profit pro rata on the latter, but you haven't made more profit overall. And again, it's your time on that day as well. So they're not costed estimates, those. They're just putting things into figures to give you something to think about. So there's quite a lot to think about there. I hope that you've picked something out of it that you've thought, actually, yes, I need to be doing that, or I need to look at that. And if you need to be doing any of those things, just do them. It's not you doing it, it's the business doing it. And that's how it works, unfortunately. And I think once you've got your head around the fact that this is you and this is the business, it's two different things, and that makes life so much easier to make those decisions moving forward. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Let me know in the comments if you've implemented any of them. I'd love to get a bit of feedback on that, and have a good day.